I need to tell you something that nobody in your life is going to tell you because they're too polite. There are specific behaviors, not circumstances, not bad luck, not where you grew up, specific behaviors that are quietly guaranteeing you stay broke. And the brutal part? Most of them feel completely normal. They feel like just how life works. They don't feel like self-sabotage. They feel like Tuesday. Here are 8 of them, and I want you to be honest with yourself while I go through this list, because one of these is probably you, maybe more than one. It was definitely me. Okay, let's get into it. Sign number 1. You think rich is a personality type. Here's a belief that lives rent-free in a lot of people's heads without them even realizing it. The belief that wealthy people are fundamentally different from them, smarter, more connected, born into something. That wealth is something that happens to a certain kind of person, and that kind of person is not them. This belief is comfortable because it removes responsibility. If rich people are just built different, then your financial situation isn't your fault. It's just how the cards fell. And I'm not saying your circumstances don't matter. They absolutely do. Starting points are not equal, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. But here's what the research actually says. A landmark study by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. They spent decades interviewing actual millionaires across the United States, and they published the results in The Millionaire Next Door. Found that the overwhelming majority of wealthy people in America were first-generation wealthy. They didn't inherit it, they built it. And the most common occupations? Not tech founders or hedge fund managers. Welders, accountants, farmers, teachers who invested consistently for 40 years. Regular people who made specific decisions over time. The belief that wealth is a personality type you either have or don't is the first sign you're never going to build it. Because if you believe the game is rigged against you specifically, you won't play. And you can't win a game you won't play. Sign number 2. You optimize for looking rich instead of being rich. This one is painful. I really want you to sit with it. There's a version of financial behavior where the goal, the actual underlying unspoken goal, is not to accumulate wealth, but to appear to have accumulated wealth. The new car you can't technically afford but can manage the payments on. The apartment in the neighborhood that's slightly above your budget but signals the right things. The clothes, the watch, the phone upgrade that happens every year because being seen with last year's model is somehow embarrassing. Morgan Housel, who wrote The Psychology of Money, one of the most important books on personal finance published in the last decade, makes this point with devastating precision. He says that we look at someone driving a nice car and think that person is wealthy, but all that car actually tells you is that this person had enough income or credit access to buy or lease that specific car on that specific day. That's it. That's all the information you have. Wealth, actual wealth, is the money that was not spent. It's invisible. It doesn't have a parking space or a logo. The people who actually become wealthy consistently are the people who are extraordinarily comfortable being financially boring in public. Driving the car they could buy outright 10 years ago, wearing whatever, living somewhere functional, and quietly, invisibly, stacking the difference between what they earn and what they spend into assets that compound. The gap between looking rich and being rich is where most people's financial life disappears. Okay, quick pause. I want to ask you something directly. If you got a $10,000 raise tomorrow, what's the first thing you'd do? And be honest. If the honest answer involves anything you'd buy within 30 days, if the money would be absorbed by lifestyle before you even thought about investing it, that's a sign. Not a fatal one, but a sign. Keep that answer in your head while we go through the rest of these. Sign number 3. You have no idea where your money actually goes. Not roughly, specifically. I used to think I knew where my money went. I had a general sense. Bills, food, going out a bit, the usual. Then one month, I actually tracked every single transaction. Every single one. And what I found was that my general sense was missing about 30% of my actual spending. Little things everywhere. Subscriptions I'd forgotten about, convenience purchases, the daily cost of not planning ahead, buying lunch because I hadn't brought anything, taking a car because I was running late, buying a charger at the airport because I packed badly. None of these were large. All of them were invisible. Together, they were $300 to $400 a month that I had confidently told myself I wasn't spending. Ramit Sethi, who's been teaching people about financial life for 20 years, calls this phantom spending. the money that leaves your account without a conscious decision attached to it. And his research suggests that most people underestimate their discretionary spending by 20 to 40%. Not because they're lying to themselves, because spending has become so frictionless, tap to pay, one-click checkout, auto-renew, that it bypasses the part of the brain that registers a decision being made. If you don't know specifically where your money goes, you cannot make decisions about where you want it to go instead. You're financially driving with your eyes closed and hoping the destination is good. Sign number 4. You treat investing like something you'll start when you have enough to invest. I need you to hear this one very carefully. There is no threshold. There is no amount that once you have it makes it the right time to start. The people who are waiting until they have a comfortable surplus to invest are going to wait forever, because lifestyle has a way of expanding to fill whatever income exists. This is Parkinson's law applied to money, and it's ruthlessly consistent. Every time your income goes up, your spending goes up to meet it, and the surplus you were waiting for never materializes. The math on this is not subtle. If you invest $100 a month starting at 25 years old and your investments return 7% annually, which is below the historical average of the US stock market, you'll have around $260,000 at 65. $260,000 from $100 a month. If you wait until 35 to start the same investment, same rate, same $100 a month, you'll have about $120,000 at 65. You waited 10 years and lost $140,000 of future wealth, not because you made a bad investment, because you didn't make any investment. Time in the market is not a luxury, it is the mechanism, and every year you wait to start is a year of compounding you permanently forfeit. The right time to start was 10 years ago. The second right time is right now. Sign number 5. You make financial decisions based on how you feel in the moment. This one has a name in behavioral economics. It's called present bias, and it is arguably the single most expensive cognitive quirk the human brain has ever developed. Present bias is a tendency to heavily overvalue what's available right now, compared to what's available in the future. The brain does not process future money as real. It processes present money as extremely real and future money as theoretical and somewhat irrelevant. This is why you can intellectually agree that investing $50 is better than spending $50 on something forgettable and then spend the $50 anyway. Your prefrontal cortex knows the right answer. Your limbic system, the emotional, impulsive, lizard brain part, is in charge of your wallet. Daniel Kahneman, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics for his work on behavioral psychology, spent decades documenting how systematically irrational human financial decision-making is under the influence of emotion. Stress, excitement, FOMO, social pressure, all of them predictably distort financial judgment in specific, exploitable ways. Which is why, not coincidentally, almost every consumer financial product is designed to be purchased in an emotional state. The car dealership creates urgency. The credit card offer creates reward anticipation. The sale creates scarcity. The limited time creates panic. All of it is engineering your present bias to override your long-term reasoning. The wealthy people who stay wealthy make financial decisions on schedules, not on feelings. Automatic investments that don't require a decision in the moment. Written criteria for purchases above certain amounts. Cooling off periods before big spending decisions. Not because they don't have emotions, because they know their emotions are working against them and they've built systems to compensate. Pattern interrupt. Let me tell you about a study that's going to change how you shop forever. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon University put people in an MRI scanner and showed them products they could buy. When they showed the price, a region of the brain associated with pain literally activated. Buying something feels like a small physical pain to your brain. Now here's the fascinating part. When payment is made frictionless, tap to pay, saved card, buy now buttons, that pain signal is significantly reduced. The friction was protective. Removing the friction removed the protection. Every time the financial industry makes it easier to spend, it is anatomically reducing your brain's ability to say no. That is not an accident. Sign number 6. You take financial advice from broke people. And I say this with love, because broke people are often the loudest voices in your financial life. They're the friends who tell you that you work too hard, the family members who imply that caring about money is greedy or shallow or not who you are, the coworkers who spend every bonus the week they get it and quietly judge people who don't. These people love you. Genuinely, probably, but they are not the right advisors for the life you're trying to build. And this is not about snobbishness or leaving people behind. It's about the documented psychological phenomenon called social proof, the human tendency to look at what the people around us are doing and assume it's correct. If everyone around you spends everything they earn, spends freely, doesn't invest, and treats next month as someone else's problem, you will experience genuine social friction every time you behave differently. And that friction is expensive. It has caused more people to blow their financial progress than almost any market crash or bad investment ever has. Jim Rohn, the business philosopher, said it so simply it became a cliche. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Whether or not the exact number is 5, the principle has been replicated in social science research consistently for decades. Your financial behavior is profoundly influenced by the financial behavior of your immediate social environment. This is not willpower. This is neuroscience. You absorb the norms of your tribe. If your tribe's norm is broke, you will have to fight your own neurology to escape it. That's possible, but it's the hardest version of building wealth. The easier version is changing, expanding, or supplementing the tribe. Sign number 7. You confuse income with wealth. Income is what comes in. Wealth is what stays. These are not the same thing, and our culture, particularly the parts of it that glorify the grind, the hustle, the 7-figure earners, the salary flex, has done a catastrophic job of making this distinction clear. High-income people go broke all the time. Constantly. Professional athletes, entertainers, executives, the list of people who earned millions and ended up with nothing is so long it has its own Wikipedia category. Because income without the behavior to retain and grow it just produces a larger lifestyle, not a larger net worth. The number on your paycheck is not your financial position. Your financial position is the gap between what you own and what you owe. A person earning $40,000 a year who invests 15% and has no consumer debt is wealthier in any meaningful sense than a person earning $150,000 a year who spends everything and carries rotating credit card balances. The income numbers are almost irrelevant. The gap is everything. This is why salary negotiations, promotions, and side hustles, while genuinely good and worth pursuing, will not fix a wealth problem on their own. If the behavior doesn't change, the new income just funds a new level of the same behavior. The goalpost moves. The gap stays the same. Sign number 8. You're waiting for a moment that isn't coming. And this is the one I want to leave you with because I think it's the most common and the most quietly devastating. There is a fantasy that a lot of people carry about their financial life. The fantasy goes something like this. Right now is complicated. Right now there's debt or a low income or too many obligations or just not the right time yet. But at some point, maybe when the kids are older or when the debt is down or when the job situation stabilizes or when life is just a bit less chaotic, at that point, I will get serious about money. I will start investing. I will build the thing. I just need to get to that point first. That point is not coming. Not because life is cruel, although sometimes it is, but because the conditions required for that version of ready don't actually exist. Life doesn't get less complicated. Obligations don't decrease. New ones replace old ones. And every year spent waiting for the right moment is a year of compounding that doesn't happen, a year of habits that don't form, a year of the gap between your current situation and financial stability quietly getting harder to close. The research on this is clear and consistent. The single strongest predictor of financial security in later life is not income. It's the age at which a person started making any deliberate financial decision. Any. Not a perfect plan, not a large investment, just a beginning of intentional behavior. Because the behavior, once started, tends to compound almost as reliably as the money does. The moment to start is always now. It's always slightly inconvenient. It's always slightly uncomfortable. That is the actual condition for starting, not readiness, not stability, just the decision to go. None of the 8 signs I've gone through today are permanent. Every single one of them is a behavior, and behaviors change. The belief that wealth is for other people can be interrogated and replaced. The appearance spending can be redirected. The phantom expenses can be found and cut. The investing can start at whatever amount is available today. The emotional financial decisions can be systematized away. The social environment can be expanded. The income-wealth confusion can be corrected. And the waiting can end. Right now, today. This is the exact moment you are waiting for, because you're thinking about it, which means the thinking has already started. The rest is just deciding to go. If this conversation hit different, subscribe. I make more of them. And drop in the comments the one on this list that you know is most true for you right now. The comment section on these videos is always more honest than I expect. I'll see you in the next one.